Hey, how y'all been? It's been a while. Popped in there yesterday. A little short vid, pedaling around on a skateboard. But not a lot of y'all, when it's come to content, was probably expecting some throwing. But as things went down, I didn't get to make the trip to Indiana this year, which sucks. But at the same time, I needed to be here at home. But everything's good. Uh, Day by day, just one step at a time. Things are slowly but surely getting better. Appreciate all the good vibes, prayers, and some good positive energy you've sent. We're hanging in there, and we'll get through everything. But I've done a lot of knife throwing videos and tomahawk throwing videos, and I've done one or two reviews, and something I'm gonna do differently today. Just trying something new. I've never really actually reviewed like tactical knives, like hunting knives, stuff that you can actually use back in the woods, have some actual functionality and practicality, in situations. And we're gonna be kind of doing like a review and an unboxing. Show you what we're going to be doing today. So I got this Glock 81 tactical field knife a few months back at a flea market. Got it for a pretty good deal because whenever we go to open this one, this is a dark earth colored version. It's the same thing as this, but I got this one for a steal at the flea market for about 15 bucks. Plastic polymer handle grip and sheath that snaps and locks. Made in Austria. Try to get that where you can see it. I might have it upside down there. No, it's right. One thing I like about this knife is the root saw or earth saw on the back of it. This one has been used, we'll get to the details of this thing here in a minute because I got some notes. We have 15 bucks for a used one, not bad. Desert sand colored Glock 81 tactical field knife. So I guess let's go ahead and get into the notes. So there's two versions of this knife. What we have here is the the field knife, the Glock 81, and there's another one that's the field knife FM78 that doesn't have the earth saw on the back of it. If we can actually get a hold of one of those, we might actually do a throwing video reviewing it. And there's a good possibility we may actually try throwing this today after playing around and testing these out in the woods, just field testing them. So for the 81, you got an overall length, 290 millimeters, converted to inches, 11.4 inches overall in length. Your weight is 202 grams, converted to ounces, it's 2.13 ounces. Like I said, polymer plastic sheath handles. Your available colors for this, this is according to the website. You got battlefield green, gray, black, and the flat dark earth that we're going to open here in a minute and check out, brand new, unused out of the package. And as far as the blade goes, it's a spring steel HRC 55, and even though you won't be able to tell it by looking at this one, these come with a electrophoretic coating. I think that's how you pronounce that. Forgive me if I'm illiterate there, but yeah. But when I got this one, just feeling of it, it felt like a really good, solid knife. On the back of this, you get a little talk, a little summary of Glock heritage in general, because they make a lot of guns, and I was surprised to find they actually made a knife. You learn something every day, but yeah, these They try to make these for you know, military and police, up to police standards and whatnot as far as quality and use goes. We'll just go ahead and read this on the back of it anyway, because we're fixing to open this up and take a look at one new. So 1963, just out of sight of Vienna, Gaston Glock began his professional journey with plastics and metal. 1981, Glock JS MBH was founded, and a profound series of engineering feats are on their way being realized. Accomplishments that would ultimately redefine the modern pistol. Continuation pursuit of perfection in every facet of design, engineering, and manufacturing has firmly established Glock pistols as the standard by which all others are compared today. More or less giving you a history and a rundown of Glock as a company, but you know, let's go ahead and open this thing here. By the way, brand new from a armory that just opened here locally. Plus tax, I paid about $42. But we're going to go ahead and open this thing up. Should peel here and we can get it right out. So, right out, fresh package. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about with the coating. See a huge difference. Because this one was used in a lot of the electrophobic coating, as they call that. I went ahead and just took the rest of it off. This is what it looks like brand new with it. And seem to have a fairly decent edge as is out of the package. I've got this one sharpened up a little bit. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to test it right out of the pack. See how this right here works. See how it cuts. We're just going to play around with it a little bit. And like I said at the end of the video, depending on how this does as far as the field test goes, we might see how it does using the used one that I got for a steal at a flea market. We might do some fun with it. So let's just get into the video and the review, and hopefully y'all enjoy this. I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. I've never really done a video like this, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so one of the very first things we're going to test on this, it's straight out of the box. We're going to actually test this saw back on it. And, the one that I have that's used, where the saw has probably seen some actions, a little dull. It will saw through things. It just takes a little time, the used one that is. But we're going to see how one saws straight out of the box, unused, not dulled or seen any action. We got a little sapling right here that we're just going to go ahead and start it on and see how it works. Just get an idea of what you could or not saw through relatively fast. It is sawing into it. You gotta kind of angle it a little bit as you go, but it is it's not doing too bad. Got a nice little groove going in there. Just got to keep the rhythm and going. Now obviously if I was going to use a saw back on something, I wouldn't be trying to saw something this thick down with it. We're just more or less testing it here on something fresh. This is a green little sapling. It's got a little thick and girth to it. But go just a little bit more there and I'll show you what little bit of damage we have done. Alright. You can kind of see it here from that distance, but it will saw. You can see we've sawed into it to make a pretty good little gap in it. So, you know, if a man, you know, get rid of them decent speed, pace himself, he could saw through something thick with it. We'll test it out on something dead right here in just a minute. But yeah, that saw on the back of that, it does work. You got to kind of angle it a little bit as you go. But once you get a nice groove and a rhythm and a pace going, you could saw through something with it. Might take a while, but you know, it works. So we'll test it on something dead. See how it saws on a dead sapling or a piece of wood. So we're going to test it out here on this little dead cedar limb. It's not as thick as the sapling we were testing out over there, but we're going to see if we can actually saw through this, you know, relatively easy and fast. So here we go. Got to get it started, of course. A little rougher start on something that's dead, but it's nonetheless actually trying to saw through it. Still have an angle a little bit as we go, but once you get that angle and that rhythm and pace going, a nice little groove already cut into it. I will go ahead and say this, it seems to work a lot better on deadwood than what it does green. So I've got a nice little groove here. I could about break the branch off at this point if I wanted to. So it does a lot better on dried out, cured out dead wood and branches from what I can tell here. Yeah, that's pretty much well cut. Finished sawing it, but that didn't take too horribly long. It's not a very thick branch, but it is dead. So, let's see, you know, now we've played around with that saw back a little bit on it. See how the cutting edge does as far as chopping and splitting. Alright, so we're going to see if we can maybe split this with this. We're going to try to anyway. See if it works. It may or may not. It started into it about center. Okay. Might need a little bit of bigger piece here, but we'll try it. It's working pretty good so far. You know, minus my shitty setup there. Split that cedar pretty good. Not too bad. Let's get another split out of it, shall we? Let me get a little bit more centered. Okay, that's going to be good enough. Well, we'll just use this to Oh yeah, you can definitely split wood for kindling. Definitely would work for that. I'm not really putting a whole lot of thump into it. It's working pretty good there. See if we can get this to split. Oh yeah, no problem. So yeah, you can definitely split, chop some wood with it. Not bad at all. I guess while we're here, let's see how the cutting edge actually works on this. Oh yeah, check that out. You can definitely make you some even finer carving and peel to get your wood going, your fire started. So far, it's not doing too bad. All right, so let's find something it's kind of standard we can kind of chop into. I mean, I know this being an already small and light knife, it's probably not going to be good for chopping, but you compensates for having that. So find something standing that's got a little girth to it, but not too thick, but we can do a couple of swings and chops into. Alright, we're just going to bring things back over here to the sapling that I was sawing the base of there earlier. So let's give a couple of swings into it and just see how it feels here. Something I was looking into before I started doing this review, I do know this pops out. And man, if he wanted to, once he popped that out, he could run, a lanyard hoe. Just kind of rope or strap there, for chopping. But I believe if I'm going to be any effective chopping at all at this, I'm going to have to kind of grip it. Little 3-finger grip. It's going to be kind of awkward chopping like that to me, but we'll try it. So let's take a couple of swings into it. To be honest, I'm a little surprised. You hit that thing right, you can straight whack right through something with it. I mean, you already see there what few swings I took here. Should be pretty visible on the camera. I'll get you close up on it there. I'm not really swinging hard either. It's chopped into that pretty good. So for a light little knife, I guess, that grind on that angle for that edge. You see there, it worked really good for splitting those cedar branch. So you get a good comfortable grip that you're confident swinging around with. You can actually you can chop some stuff down with it. So something I'm going to test out with it, which y'all know I like to make walking sticks and stuff, but we're not going to go out of our way to find a spiral stick. We're going to find a nice little straight, decent sapling that'd make a stick. We're going to, whittle and play around on it. But yeah, I'm kind of liking this knife. Really liking it. This is something I would feel really comfortable and confident back in the mountains with. A big enough to take back in the woods when you're hunting, just out hiking, I do a lot of medicinal oil foraging and stuff, so this would be something I would definitely utilize and take back in the woods, digging herbs like ginseng and stuff. So let's find this little green sapling to cut, and then we'll whittle around on it, and I guess we'll call it a day up here. And then we'll go down the throwing range. We'll actually play around with the desert sand one that I got at the flea market as far as throwing goes. So I got a little sapling of an alamato here, a hogthorn. We're going to let's go ahead and start shaving some of these little branches off of it as it's standing here. And this briar right here out of the way. This thing out, fresh out of the package, it's got a nice edge. You can definitely cut stuff with it, no problem. Always a damn briar bush or a rambling rose bush or something with thorns in the mountains just waiting to prick the shit out of you. Alright, let's get that little... So I think I'll go ahead and saw somewhere about right in this general area. Starting to get the feeling the rhythm of this saw back. In all practicality and honesty, it'd probably been just faster to chop through it. But you know, I kind of want to saw through it just to have kind of a somewhat even buddy in here. We're almost through it. You know, I'm not going to say it's the best sawback that I've seen on a knife. I mean, it does okay, but I have used better. But the fact that it actually works and it functions and it's practical, you know, that's a plus. Having some functionality, practicality as far as performance and use goes, it's better than none at all. Alright, so flip this around here, get the rest of these off right quick. Got a pretty decent stick there. Could have shortened it up a little bit, but go ahead and... Oh yeah, you could definitely make a staff, a spear, or something with one of these, if need be, in the woods. Just peeling it, bark right off that. Running over in knots where little branches and twigs were coming off of it. Yeah, you can see there. Man had to, theoretically, in a survival situation, he can make him a spear for defense. Or, you know, you get what I'm saying. You can use this knife in the woods. I'm going to tell you right now, as far as performance goes, I've not been too dissatisfied thus far. You can see there, though, you can definitely you can do some whittling with it. Pretty smooth so far too. See, it's being the end we started on here. Let's just go ahead and do a spearhead on it, spear point. Get that right there took out and help a great deal. This thing has a nice cutting edge. which obviously with use, you know, it will get dull and you'll just have to eventually, you know, sharpen it. But it seems to be a pretty good metal for holding an edge. I say it would work equally as well on a cured out piece of wood too. But you know, just playing around piddling on random saplings and pieces of cut cedar that's already been sitting up here from whenever I had the old throwing range sit. This hasn't been too bad of a field test as far as I'm concerned. Spent a little bit more time there putting a point on that, I guess. Let's do that. And then we'll call it quits up here goofing around in the woods and go down on the throwing range. You get the idea though. If you really wanted to, you could make you a spear or just have some kind of stick or something. All I'm saying, this is a good knife for back in the woods from what I can tell. And I knew it wouldn't be a letdown and a disappointment. So now that we got all this field testing and stuff out of the way, like I said, let's head back down out of the woods to the throwing range, and we're gonna give them a couple of throws. Alright, so now that we've actually field tested it in the woods a little bit, you know, the one that's fresh, new out of the box, it hasn't, you know, been used. Like I promised, we're going to go ahead and take the used one that I got for a bargain at a flea market, and we're going to test it out on the range here. Technique as far as throwing it, I'm just going to go with some no spin. I would try conventional spin throwing technique with this from the blade, but I've got a pretty decent edge on this used one. And I could try to get away with like pinch gripping for like least minimum half spin from like 6 or 7 feet, but we have this right here as an issue too. So that's why I even had the notes when I was talking about the other model of this. The other one doesn't have the earth saw or the root saw in the back of it, so we'll actually be able to do a proper throwing review of one of those if we can snag one in the future. For all intensive purposes, we're just going to do some no spin from about at least minimum of 13 to 14 feet. We don't want to go too far back and be trying to whip and fling this thing, because sometimes if you get some bad throws, they don't come out right, we hit just right on this rubber plastic polymer handle, we're going to get some bad ricochets. So I'm going to go ahead and get the feel of this thing, and then I'll give you about, we'll do about 3 different angles, 2 shots a piece. So let's get right into it and finish this thing up. It's not a bad first throw. Didn't take much warm up, about 2 or 3 throws, I pretty much had the feel of it. Now pushing off of that balance point right there on that hilt. But that was a pretty good little throw. The knife can no spin. It does throw pretty good. I know this block's a little chewed up. Let's see how deeply sunk it in there. So it's not too bad. I didn't put a whole lot of whip and oomph off on that one, but you know, we do have a chewed up center mass there. So let's just say if I'd hit solid, I'd probably been more like that, somewhere around that area. But let's set up another angle and from that point of view position, and we'll film again, and we'll wrap it up. Alright. Tamed my form of posture down a little. I don't really done a whole lot of throwing. That first throw I kind of kicked my foot off a little overly exaggerated there, but that wasn't a bullseye, but hell, that was still a decent throw. We hit something a little bit more solid, you know, even on an upward angle. got about similar results. Just trying to keep it out of that center mass that's chewed up and actually hit a little bit something more solid, kind of within that middle face area, but I got a pretty good little sink in that one that time. I did put a little extra on that one, so the knife does stick really well for no spin. And I know I'm doing this just from at least minimum like 13 to 14 feet out, but man got comfortable no spinning this knife from further distances. He could sure whomp some bullseyes and destroy some targets with it. All right, let's get a couple more angles and we'll be done here. See if we can get a cleaner stick than that. Okay. Like I said, I'm a little rusty. I've not been doing a whole lot of throwing since that last update video. Other than what little bit of water testing I did as far as my body handling throwing. It was one of the straightest throws, but we still got some decent sinks. Not as deep as the first two here. We'll pull this one out and look. Bad angle hit, but we still got some sink into it on both of those. And knife is looking pretty good. I don't see any bending, any warping. Nothing's getting loose. It's staying pretty solid, and that's one thing I kind of figured whenever I got this one. And Joe Darrell was talking about it. It's a good, solid, sturdy, well-made knife. And like I said, that other model that doesn't have the earth saw, the root saw on it, I'd love to get my hands on one because something tells me I'm gonna have a lot of fun throwing it. But yeah, let's do the last two shots from a different angle and we'll be done. And I'll give you my final overall opinion on this thing. Okay, I felt pretty good about those two throws. First one was a bullseye, but hit flat. And I'm kind of adjusting, to try to hit flat and straight on to see how the knife handles certain angle hits. But from what I can tell, it's, I've not stuck them all. And even, bouncing it and ricocheting and getting bad throws, this knife is pretty solid. So it can take it can take some abuse. And once you get the feel for no spin in that knife, it feels really good whenever you get sticks. And it's not hard. It doesn't take a whole lot of adjusting at all. I actually hit a good solid spot that time on the block. We're still getting some good depth and penetration there on those throws. Regardless if we're hitting what's chewed up or something solid, we're still sinking in pretty good. So let's get our last two shots and we'll be done here. Sketchy, sketchy, sketchy. There it is. I'll tell you, whenever you get that throw right with that knife, that sure feels good. That should have been a pretty decent angle too. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to have to stop for a minute and charge my battery. And then we'll go ahead and wrap it up once we get this charged. But yeah, you can see, you get a good throw on that thing, it sinks. Alright, so as far as my final impressions and overall review of the knife. I would recommend one if you could find one. You seen there what few little bit of piddling and playing around we did as far as field testing goes. It's not hard to split wood with. You just get it started in the butt end of the log or branch, whatever it is you're trying to split for kindling firewood. Grab a nice, thick, heavy piece of wood to hammer it through. You can split wood for kindling, start fires. You've seen the cutting edge. You could definitely feather stick, make little pile of carvings, for fine kindling to get your split kindling started for a fire. If you had to, you can make walking stick or spear or something. I mean, all I'm trying to say is back in the woods, I would recommend this, for a hiking bag, bug out bag, just bushcraft survival bag in general. You wouldn't have no problem chopping with it. That was a shock to me, this being a very light, not very lengthy knife, for what it is, the overall length and the weight. That angle that they grinded for that edge did really well chopping. Just you got to get a good comfortable grip where you can swing to actually cut with it. But it did really, really well as far as chopping goes. That definitely shocked me. So the only thing that I can really kind of complain as far as functionality goes, and I mean it does have a little practical function and use. But as far as the saw back goes on it, the earth saw, root saw, whatever you want to term that as, it does okay. You just can't, straight saw. You have to kind of angle the knife a little bit to get it going. But like I was saying there when we were doing that, if you get a good rhythm and a pace going, and you can keep going, you can saw with it. So it's not completely useless. The sawback, it has some practicality and functionality as far as use goes. But yeah, it would definitely be a knife that I would feel very comfortable and confident taking back in the woods with me. Something I will say, in defense of this, we were sawing through wood with it, and you saw it will cut and saw through wood. Like I said, you just got to get a good rhythm and pace going, just like with any saw back. But something whenever it comes to ginseng and digging other medicinal herbs when you forage, especially if you get some big ginseng in the ground, and there's a lot of tree roots and stuff in the ground, and you don't really want to be swinging the axe head on the back part of your magnet, the axe head on the back part of your mattock to cut those roots. This right here would come in handy because I don't care how sharp your axe is on your mattock. Whenever you go to swing to cut roots to try to get a bigger root out of the ground, the impact of breaking those roots, the shock of that, can cause you to tear up a really nice old bunch of ginseng. And there's been a few instances and cases where I wish I had something, where I could just manually cut the tree roots and stuff that was blocking me from getting those bunches out of the ground in one piece. And this right here would have been something handy to have, just to avoid, messing up a really good old big bunch of ginseng due to, other roots and stuff running through it or around it. Another thing too, it doesn't matter. You can slide this in either way. It'll go in either way. And this is something I should have made mention of. But one thing I like about this, you will not lose this knife. It will not come out of that sheath. So once you strap that bad boy to your belt, you're never going to have to worry about that unlatching, undoing, and your knife working your way out of the sheath. And the only reason why I mention that, nothing sucks more than having a knife that you like, sentimental to, you use it in the woods for years, and then, sadly, this will happen. Give it time. you'll end up having your strap come undone, will come unbuckle, and somehow your knife, before you even know it's gone, will work its way out of the sheep and fall out somewhere in the woods. And depending on whenever you realize it and notice it, you're not really going to know how far back to backtrack to try to recover it. That happened to me a few years back with a Gerber double-edged bayonet that I'd bought from the pawn shop. And I was really, really fond of that knife. I kind of have a general idea where it's at. But not getting my hopes up on going back and finding it anytime soon. That was about 7 years ago. But you get what I'm trying to say there. These sheaves, once that locks, once that snaps in right there, I don't care how hard you fling it, what you do, that's not coming out. Another thing with these that I like, that stuff right there, pretty durable. As you may not have known because I didn't have any of them on camera, whenever I was throwing the used one, getting the feel for the knife, I did have a few throws to where, I kind of under and over rotated and kind of came in flat and bonked and hit. When I was throwing this one, I had a couple of bad, really, iffy throws that kind of made me cringe a little bit. But nonetheless, this polymer handle, despite a few bad throws that I hit on it, didn't scratch, didn't knock any chunks out of it. This is some pretty durable material, so it can take a beating. A little abuse won't hurt it. And as far as like the whole throwing aspect goes, you've seen the throws I was doing with this one. Tip didn't bend, the knife didn't warp, everything is still solid, nothing came loose. This is a good knife. I like the way this is made, it's good and solid. It can take some abuse. My overall final impression, rating on it, if I were to do a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this a 9.4, and the only reason why I don't give it a full 10 for 10, like I said, that sawback, it could be better. It works, but, they are better designs as far as sawbacks and spines as far as tactical and survival knifing gear go. But it worked. It didn't work the greatest, but you could, in time, once you got a rhythm and a pace going, you could eventually saw through something with that. And, it being earth and a root saw, as far as cutting roots in the ground, like I said, prime example, ginsenging. You find a big bunch, but you got a lot of different tree roots and stuff running, and you don't want to swing your mattock around with the axe head on the back of it. And end up breaking that big root out of the ground into a bunch of pieces. That would come in handy for, cutting roots out of the way to get, bigger, older bunches of ginseng that's got multiple roots, coming off the curl without busting them up and breaking them up and just ruining them. I mean, you can still salvage them, but you kind of want to get stuff like that out of the ground in one piece. But 9.4, I definitely recommend it. If you can find one for a steal and a bargain like I did at the flea market, definitely grab it. You can't go wrong. And, I don't know how much you can get one of these brand new, but I think $42 was a good investment. This knife, brand new out of the package, opened up there and used it. I was really surprised with the cutting edge that was on it. That really shocked me that we was able to chop, those few little light swings that we took into that sapling. We could have just kept chopping that thing right on down to the ground. You can definitely whittle with it, if you want to cut your walking stick when you're hiking, you can cut your walking stick and make one right on the spot, no problem. And, as far as bushcraft and survival and all that good stuff that you can learn how to do, I'd recommend and suggest this knife for a bug out bag. Or, just in general, a hiking bag, your gear. And I got to go ahead and say this, no way whatsoever been reached out to by Glock to do this. I just happened to get this knife a few months back. And just, feeling of it and just You know how I am when it comes to tactical knives and bayonets and stuff. Something told me this was not going to be a disappointing investment at all. So Glock 81 tactical field. You know, overall, we'll get the stats here on this thing. You know, the overall length for a 11-inch, 11.4-inch knife, for it to weigh 7.13 ounces. This little thing can put in some work. I'm not going to say it's the best go-to as far as my opinion goes, but for what it is, this is a good plausible option. I was very impressed with this, and like I said, throwing it, this knife can take some abuse and a little bit of a beating. And using the one that I got for a steal on the bad hits, where I hit handle or kind of skimmed off the side of the block, just thrower error and rust from not being out on the range. Get out on the range and practice and keep your skills kind of in tune and sharpened. No pun there, but yeah, not a bad knife at all. So with that all being said, I don't think there's really anything else I need to go into. I mean, other than the colors, if you want to get some of these. I know there's a few other colors that are available other than what was mentioned on the actual official website, because they didn't even have the desert sand colored one. But they did have the flat dirt, the flat dark earth, battlefield green, gray, and if I do get another one of these, I'm probably going to get the black one. And the steel, like I said, up there, playing around with it, it seems like it holds a pretty good cutting edge. Once you get a nice edge going on one of these knives, it seems like it does pretty good, because throwing this into a dead target round, just feeling like my edge around the tip after each stick, it didn't feel like I was losing much of a sharp edge, penetrating and sinking that yellow pine target. And, I did put a few in the backstop too, just to test and see how that would work, off cam. And it still held a pretty good tip and cutting edge. Didn't bend, didn't warp. Everything solid, sturdy, one piece, still pretty strong. Didn't even come loose, nothing did. So if you happen to come across one at a flea market or a thrift store or just a bargain shop, surplus, and you can get it for a deal, snag it. And, $30 to $40, I don't think it'd be a bad investment. But this is the first time doing one of these videos. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If there's anything you'd like to see me do different with these in the future, if I continue to do them, go ahead and give me some constructive criticism in the comment sections. And maybe if we do another one of these in the future, we can do it a little better, and we'll try to find another knife to play around and experiment with. But this has been a review on a Glock 81 tactical field knife. I'm Justin James, the Outlaw Knife Thrower. Hope y'all enjoyed, and appreciate you for taking the time to tune in. I'll catch you in a later video installment on up the road. Peace and God bless, and see y'all around.